Hi, this is Jeff Curto, and welcome to episode number 121 of Camera Position, the podcast about the creative side of photography. Hey, just a quick couple of housekeeping pieces of business, and then we'll move on to today's podcast topic. Housekeeping piece number one is that I've recently moved the web hosting provider for Camera Position, and everything should be the same as it ever was, but if you notice anything that's unusual or links that don't work or pictures that aren't there or something like that on the Camera Position blog, please let me know so that I can fix it. And the other piece of housekeeping is if you get a chance in the next day or week or month, if you could stop by the iTunes store and leave a comment about Camera Position, hopefully a positive one, but leave a comment about whatever you think about Camera Position. Those comments and ratings on the iTunes store help get Camera Position placed a little bit farther up in the list, and then we can get more people to listen, and the more people we have listening, the more people we can have responding to interesting topics like the one I have for you today. So let's dive right into this topic, because it's an unusual one, or at least a curious topic. Curious to me, certainly, and apparently curious to a number of other people. So let's see what we can decipher from this. So, several people, students, podcast listeners, pointed me to an article from Outdoor Photographer magazine. In fact, a couple of people actually handed me a physical copy of the magazine. And there was an article that appeared in the fall, in August of 2012, called Digital Pitfalls, A Cautionary Tale. And there's a little subhead for the article. Tom Till, a photographer of some note, a fine landscape photographer, Tom Till recently had an epiphany about how much enhancement is too much. It's easy to become enamored of the power of digital to make colors pop, but it's also easy to become addicted to the point where you need more and more. And I read through this article, and I'll put a link to the article in cameraposition.com blog, and also in the app, and all links in the app are in the PDF that comes along with the app if you're looking for the links there. And I just wasn't really quite sure what to make of this. So in this article, Till, the photographer who's writing the article, who is a photographer who had come from the world of film, makes this sort of strangely apologetic commentary about how his entry into the digital world, in that entry, he had kind of, in his mind, overcooked, oversaturated, overdone the colors of the world. And as I read through it, and of course everybody wanted to know what I thought of this article. They had given it to me so that they could get some feedback from me about what it was that I thought about it. And the more I read it, the more I kind of thought to myself, yeah, so what? I kind of felt in some ways like the guy needed to talk to a therapist about his guilt about using too much saturation slider in the Lightroom or Photoshop Control or Aperture or whatever it was that he was using. And instead of talking to a therapist about this guilt, he decided to write an article about it instead. And I know the world of nature photographers, oftentimes a fairly conservative group, and oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes a group that tend to think that their photographs are replicating the natural world as opposed to interpreting it. And the more I read this article, the more I realized that seemed to be Tom Till's sort of take on this, the idea of replicating the world. And then I just began to think about how, in my opinion, I don't think photography works like that at all. I don't think the photographer actually replicates the world. I mean, I suppose we do, as long as this picture of this person or place or thing looks just like that, if we have seen it from this vantage point, using this optical system, using this focal length, using this light recording method, whether it's a sensor or film or whatever, in this lighting condition, with this background, etc., etc., etc. In other words, if the world looks like this, it really only looks like this if we use these systems to record the world. And what we wind up with is the idea that what we do as photographers is interpret the world through this set of mechanisms that we use. And those mechanisms include not only where we choose to stand and how much we choose to include or exclude from the scene, but also how we decide to record it, with what equipment, with what methodology. And I thought about, as I was reading this article, and I really encourage you to take a look at it. As I was reading this article, I was thinking, boy, you never really saw Edward Weston apologizing for showing the nude figure in black and white, even though we all know that the nude human figure is, in shades of pink and brown. But Weston didn't seem to care if he was photographing it in black and white. So I found this to be a very strange set of circumstances, that this fine photographer was apologizing for his, his seeming addiction to the saturation slider or something. And thinking about how all we do as photographers really is make a series of choices based on our opinion about the way things ought to look, based on our theories about what it is we're trying to accomplish, and using the equipment and tools that we bring to bear on that particular scene. And it all is about equipment and tools. I even go back to Ansel Adams considering his actual entry point into the world of the artist as opposed to the world of a recorder of things, is when he thought to put a red filter over the camera's lens when making Monolith Half Dome, and darkened the sky and made a photograph of what he felt rather than what it was that it looked like. So, man, I don't know why we feel that this digital argument about what we can do with the digital photograph is or is not what we want. I mean, some people really love HDR photography, some people really don't like it, and some people figure out ways to use it in ways that satisfy their needs. Same deal with just about any kind of part of the medium. So please take a look at this article, and please feedback either in the Camera Position blog or send me an email or whatever, because I'm curious to see what everybody thinks about this. In some ways, I thought that this argument was all done and over with, but it seems as though for some photographers, they're still trying to figure out how to apologize for using the medium the way we have it now. So don't go too far. You've gone too far. So anyway, I just found it to be a curious piece of work, and take a look and see what you think. And I'll see you next time on the next episode of Camera Position, the podcast about the creative side of photography.